We're back. Yes, we are. We're sports fans. JAKIB Sports YouTube Network hanging out with you on this Tuesday. That's Derek Gunn. That's Barrett Brooks. I'm Rob Ellis. We just wrapped things up with Ray Didinger. If you missed any of it, you want to catch it in its entirety or any segment of our program, just go to jakibsports.com or JAKIB Sports YouTube channel. That was fun. I like getting the historical, kind of stuff with Ray. And he said, look, if they can win this thing, if they can pull it off, and he likes them in this game against the Chiefs, but if they can win it, they would go down as the greatest Eagles team ever, considering the amount of wins, the way that they've gone about it. They've done it. And, they would have to slay the big dragon here, guys, against this Kansas City Chief team. That's for sure. A lot of similarities here, guys. So the Chiefs went 14-3 in the regular season. Their road to the Super Bowl in the playoffs, they beat the Jags 27-20. And they beat the Bengals 23-20. Certainly much tighter games than the Eagles played in their two games. But if you look at the numbers regular season-wise, most points per game at 29.2. First in passing, 297.8. 20th running the ball, 115.9. Now you go to them defensively. 21.7 points allowed. That's 16th. Not great. 220.9 yards per game in the air, 18th, not great. Better against the run, 107.2 against the rush, which is 8th. Now, keep in mind, the 49ers came in, I think, first or second in the NFL against the run, and the Eagles still, blitz them for $140 or whatever the case may be. You're going to be dealing with Mahomes, over 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, 12 picks, 105.2 passer rating. They played last year, did these two teams. Keep in mind, things were really different last year. It was early in the season. The Eagles lost 42-30 to the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes went 24 for 30, 278, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. Jalen Hurts did play well in his own right, 30 for 48, 387 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Now, I mentioned this to you earlier. Chris Jones leads them with 15.5 sacks. The next closest is George Karlaftis, the kid out of Purdue, with just 6. So there is a drop-off if you can somewhat contain Jones, similar to the way we talked about it last week with Nick Bosa. Anyone?
Oh, and I thought Barrett was saying something, but he hit his mic. No.
Yeah.
There's no question. You look at every team that the Eagles have played, and it's always like one player you have to worry about on defense, and they find a way to control that player. And, same storyline with this Kansas City team. One guy who stands out on defense, and everybody else just kind of fall into line. You saw what they did with Bosa, and everything else took care of itself. And I expect similar results. Chris Jones ain't no slouch, but he's one man, and this team has shown they can control the best of the best at any given moment. And I expect more of the same. Eagles will find a way to neutralize him, as they've done Micah Parsons, as they've done, Nick Bosa and everybody else. So I know Chris Jones will be a big part of the storyline nationally for Kansas City between now and next week. But I don't expect Chris Jones to be much of a factor because of what we've seen his team already do this season against the other team's so-called premier player.
This team going against what, they faced all year is built for this. And looking at, defensively, Jones, you look at the linebacker, Nick Bolton, you look at Frank Clark is also starting to amp things up a little bit. Kalaf is starting to amp things up a little bit. I just don't think that they're built well enough to stop everything that the Eagles have offensively. Who's going to cover the 2 receivers? I mean, Trent McDuffie, he's a rookie. This little guy with small hands or small arms and stuff, you know what I'm saying? That's, and
T-Rex.
Right. I just don't see it, man. Jalen Watson, he's also a rookie. They have 2 rookies starting for him at the cornerback position.
Yep.
Snead should be back. Willie Gay should be back. Do they have enough, even if they were there? I just don't think so. Mm-hmm. But they just don't thinking you're going to be back. Then thinking they're going to be back. That's not necessarily, just like Ray said, mean you're going to win a game. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. doesn't, cash any wins in the league. You got to go out there and do it. And at this point, I think this team has a vendetta. This team are tired of everybody just sitting back and acting like they're not as good as what their record depicts. Their quarterback isn't as good as what he's been doing all season. The running game isn't as good as it was. This isn't the number one offensive line in the league. And am I starting to think that I may be a little crazy that I think everybody's against us? Yeah, I'm getting a little paranoid right now. I've been a little paranoid ever since ever since the 49er thing came up and everybody's been talking about how good they are. And then I just, I stood in my square and said from 2 months ago, this team is the best team in the NFL, not just in the NFC, but in the NFL. And I think they're going to show it. They're going to show it next weekend.
Yeah. I always get back to the lines of scrimmage, and the Eagles' offensive line is better. Their defensive line is better. The Eagles have an advantage here at linebacker.
Yep.
I'll take the Eagles secondary. I will take – now here's the thing. When you talk about receivers, I will certainly take Devontae and AJ over this group. It's offset a little bit because Mahomes just performs magic sometimes, and he doesn't have to have great receivers, right? So that one you have to be a little bit careful, in my opinion, when you just look at it straight up. Yes, the Eagles have the advantage, but – and this is taking nothing away from Jalen Hurts. Mahomes just does things that other human beings can't do. He's just in a different planet. He's on a different
ridiculous
planet. So, you can offset that a little bit. This is a rare game where you would give the advantage to the other team's tight end. And it's no knock on Dallas Goedert. But look, Travis Kelce is Travis Kelce, man. And the connection that he and Mahomes have is one of the most unique we've ever seen in the NFL. Those two are like intuitive, man. It's telepathic what those two do. Because it's not all, whatever play. It's freelance, break it off. Mahomes is buying time. Kelce knows where to go, and those two connect. It's just different. So that's going to be big. Don't let Kelce kill you. Is going to be a big part of this,
bro. It happens. I was watching their show with he and his brother, Kelce.
The New Heights. The New Heights. It's called.
The New Heights.
Yep.
And the reason why he can play the way he can play, because he sees the thing through the quarterback's eyes. He played quarterback, which gave him a little sense on where he needs to be and how he needs to be where he needs to be within the offense and understanding the quarterback that he has. He understands no matter where he rolls and where he ends up, he's still going to be looking for 87.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a decided advantage, man. It's hard. It's going to be hard to do that. But, I mean, I really, truly think that you have to look at what Cincinnati did to hold that offense down and kind of implement that a little bit with better players than we have.
Yeah, I mean, they gave up – Cincy gave up 23, and 3 of those were aided by – well, look, they did it themselves. It was a bad penalty. But anyway, they gave up 23, which you would probably take. Like if I said to you the Eagles give up 23 to the Chiefs, I'd feel good about the Eagles' chances of winning the Super Bowl.
The thing that always impresses me over the last few years in particular about this Kansas City team is every team goes into a practice week for a big game or the next game with a game plan. We're going to try to attack this. And, this first 15 plays or so are always scripted as we're told. But then you hear players in Kansas City talking about, oh, yeah, we decided to do this because we talked about it on the sideline during the game, or we changed it in the huddle. They make up plays as they go along, man. You don't do that in the NFL. I mean, think about it. There's a reason you practice it, because you need 11 people in sync to know what they're doing at any given moment on that particular play. These dudes just flip the script on the fly, man, and they laugh about it when it works. It's I've just never seen anything like that.
And he gives them a lot of leeway, that players flourish with that kind of freedom.
Yeah. If you have the guys that understand the offense, you got to be in depth with the offense, and all those guys that are playing at a high level right now, especially those two, when you think about Mahomes and you think about Kelce. The reason why they can do those type of things is their depth of understanding on what that offense is trying to do. When you can sit back and you can break down, okay, this is why we're doing this, instead of just saying, all right, on this play, you got to do this.
Right.
those two go together and they spend time together saying, all right, this is why we're doing this, because we're trying to accomplish this.
Right.
Which is allowing them then to say, all right, then, well, they're doing this to us. Let's do this right here. And I mean, and don't get it twisted, the Eagles the same way. The Eagles have had the autonomy to do the same thing. Jalen Hurts and Kenneth Gainwell did it this last week, running that the read option. It used to be that when they were running the read option, Jalen would ride him inside and he'd either cut with the gap between the end and the tackle, or he would keep it, pull it, and go run. Well, Bosa started jumping up the field in a manner that, all right, they couldn't do that. So what did they do? They gave it to Kenneth Gainwell anyways, allowed him to just cut outside, and he would outrun the end to the outside, and that's why they had some success running that read option. They changed the running point of Kenneth Gainwell since he was fast enough to get to the outside, and it worked out perfectly for him. It kept the chains moving. It was a great concept that those two together came up with, or whatever, whoever did, whether they told him, Shane Steichen said try it, or him and Jalen Hurts came up with it themselves. But they changed that launch area. They changed the mesh area, which allowed them to get to the outside, and it worked out perfectly. I will say this: it was absolutely stupid of the 49ers defense, straight stupidity, to put your best player and have them spy Jalen Hurts. Why would you take your?
I would say Shanahan did not have a good day, right? So I know ultimately, he can supersede his defensive or his offensive coordinator, but he's the offensive guy, right? So a couple times he's got his tight end trying to contain Reddick, who wreaks havoc. He also doesn't throw the challenge flag when clearly Devontae Smith is telling the Eagles, hurry up, because something's up here. He's asleep at the wheel on that. It's not why they lost ultimately, but he got outcoached. Sirianni outcoached him in a big way.
Unbelievable, man. It's just little things that I saw in the game. All right, just like I was talking to Jordan Mailata last night, and he was telling me how, and I saw it, and the first thing I said, man, I like how you guys picked up on something. He said, what are you talking about? I said, when you guys picked up on those threes widening out and were trying to run stunts, and you guys stopped from running stunts because they were trying to pull you guys as they're trying to pull you, say instead of you guys trying to fight away from it, you guys accelerated your feet, which led to a big mush area. And then that mush area, y'all started driving them back. He's like, bro, you saw that. I'm like, yeah, I saw that. He was hyped. You saw it? I'm like, yeah, I saw it. He said, Kelsey picked it up. Kelsey said, hey, every time they line up in this wide thing, whenever they try to hold you when they do that, don't push away from them. Start accelerating your feet and start pressing them back. And that's how they started creating them holes in the middle of the defense, because they picked up on that little thing and started accelerating them, which opened up the hole and allowed the double team to be farther, because they're pulling them. And as they're pulling them, they're driving them, and it pushed them into the stunt, which allowed them guys to widen open. Those are the little things that they saw throughout the game that they picked up on, were able to capitalize on it, but the 49ers didn't do it. They didn't change up.
So a couple little odds and ends. The Eagles will practice at the Cardinals facility in Arizona, and the Chiefs will practice at Arizona State University. And the Eagles are considered the home team, so they get the choice of what garb they're going to wear, what colors they're going to wear. Little tidbits.
Hey, I tell you what, man, you talk about spreading out from a media perspective. That's not good, because if you're trying to cover both teams' practices, that's a little haul from one place to the other. And then you got to deal with the traffic. And that Arizona traffic over the last 10, 12 years, so many people are starting to move out there. Traffic congestion, man. Driving up and down Interstate 10 in Phoenix, on that Phoenix area, man, ain't no joke anymore. It's like, I remember driving up and down it 20 years ago. You can go point A to point B in a hurry. Not anymore. So from a media perspective, I would imagine most big media perspectives, you're going to have multiple teams, because you can't have one crew. Smaller markets are going to try to have one crew go from one to the other. It ain't going to work like that. You got to have one at one place and one at the other to cover this thing properly, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't have to deal with that mess. I've been there, done that before.
Yeah, I hear you.
I got to fly out. In fact, I got to talk to you guys after the show or later on, man. I got to fly out on Wednesday.
Next Wednesday, yeah.
Okay.
Still surprising that you're not going Monday. I'm still shocked by that.
Yeah, but
you putting him in a bad spot. You're so bad, Gunner. I know what you're doing.
I'm asking a legitimate question because if that was me, and this has nothing to do with Barrett, but anytime a company says, we're trying to save a little money here or there, I would go, no, you don't understand. Do not send us out there to have, cover this thing. If you're going to send us, have us covered the way it's supposed to be covered.
I agree.
And so I would always get what I wanted in the end begrudgingly, but you don't send somebody half out there to cover, and especially if it's your team you covering, and I understand they're trying to save the proverbial buck. It ain't like they're hurting for money.
And especially since it's a Fox Super Bowl, so you don't have everything that you have readily available when you have an NBC Super Bowl.
True. Yeah. I understand that. So, I've been there, done that also, where you've had to play second fiddle because another network is covering. But this is a team in your backyard. You are part of an entity that's considered a sports network in the region. Okay.
Right.
That means you do things. Now, if you work for one of the local affiliates, I wouldn't be surprised because you know what they do? They'll rely on their local affiliate there to feed them a lot of the interviews and all the extracurricular stuff. They don't have to send anybody, but they'll go out there. They'll send a news crew before they send a sports team out there, and they'll come out. We're the leading Eagle station in the region. Watch how many promos you see next week, and then watch the coverage, what their coverage is like, okay? But when you're a sports network in a region, this is a rare opportunity. It's not like the New England Patriots of 15 years in a row where you'd expect them to get to the AFC Championship game or get to a Super Bowl. This is one of those rare opportunities that for the last time it happened was 5 years ago. You go all in on something like this. You use all your assets to do things and to get things. See, you have relationships that the affiliates don't have with the players, with the organization. Yep. See what I'm saying? That's what I would argue all the time. And lo and behold, we do what we have to do and get there. This is where you have to be an extended mercenary. See what I'm saying? You don't have to go out there and, we're cutting costs. For what? What are you cutting costs for?
First off, it's going to be tough for me to go to Arizona #1 because, like, as William Starks put it, no, there's no White Castles in Arizona. I'm so pissed off. I am so hot about it.
A lot of good Mexican joints out there, though.
Is it? So you got to tell me. You got to put me on it because you already
hook them up, man.
Yeah, you told me about some restaurant. You were telling me about it was a steakhouse that you said you had the best steak ever.
Steakhouse 44. Go to Steakhouse 44.
There it is. Yeah, you were talking to me about that years ago. You told me about it, and I remembered it. I'll just have to see what the chicken's hitting for. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
And if you go there and decide to have chicken, don't ever tell me about it. Don't tell me you went there to have chicken.
We'll never hear the end of that.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me you went to have chicken. Because I will never recommend a restaurant to you again. Never.
Oh my God.
Don't do it.
Let me throw this at you guys. Pretty good stat. Jalen Hurts, when Jalen Hurts starts, so that excludes the one Cowboy game. Remember, he was out. Okay. But when Jalen Hurts starts, the Eagles are 7-0 against playoff teams.
There you go.
They outscored those playoff teams 218-97. At some point we start looking at this, and I know there's one more to go. I'm not getting ahead of myself. I know it's the Chiefs. But we start recognizing how dominant this team has been, how dominant this run has been. They're not sneaking past teams. They're beating the brakes off of these teams. And that includes good teams too, for everybody who wants to throw the schedule nonsense at you, which we all know is bogus.
You see, that's the narrative now. The narrative is the Eagles have had the easiest road ever in NFL history of going to the Super Bowl. What? That's the narrative now.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, you can say it during the season until you start playing the real teams and you start beating the real teams. Then all that's got to go out the door. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. You play who you play. We didn't make the schedule. The NFL made the schedule. So let's go. It's not gonna be an asterisk by this Super Bowl win. It's not. It's gonna say Eagles Super Bowl champions.
I mean, if you think about it, you will have beaten a team in your division, which is never an easy thing to do. Along the way, I'm talking about. You will have beaten the team that came in the hottest, having won 12 games. However, you got there. You knocked their 2 quarterbacks out, and you will have beaten Andy Reid. You know, the Chiefs, who were also 14-3. And think about this too. Historically, you will have then beaten in 2 Super Bowls, the last 2 Super Bowls you played, Bill Belichick and Andy Reid, who are both Hall of Famers. So there's nothing there's nothing that needs to be apologized for this team. Nothing. They earned everything that they got if they get
everything,
every little thing. So
took names.
And 2 years ago, this team had 4 wins. So you went from 4 wins to potentially winning 17 games in the first time in club history.
That's right. That's
right. No apologies needed.
Hey, before you move on, Barrett, I saw it in the chat, and I hate to tell you this, there actually is a White Castle in the Phoenix area.
There you go. See that?
In Scottsdale.
It's worth going now. It's worth going now.
Let me tell you something. Scottsdale, and man, that place, whoo, I love Scottsdale, man. You talking about upscale? You talking about upscale? Yep, it's right here on East Via de Ventura in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was shocked. I'm like, I've never seen a White Castle in Phoenix. As many times as I go there.
And you know what else is there? Some type of golf events out there also, which is
it is.
Everything up, making these. That's why these tickets are so expensive. Because when I saw the ticket, I was going to get the ticket. It said $889.
It's why the tickets and the hotels they jacked every one of them up for the weekend.
Right,
they jacked them all up. You get
they do it every year.
Well, look at this though. It was already high to say it was $888, right? So then you go to then you go to then it says 0. With this flight is 0. This flight is 177. This flight 235. So I picked the 0 one, added to it, and then I'll go to pay for it, and then it boosted to 2,100. I log out of it again and do it again, and it still boosted to 2,100. I'm like, what is going on? Then I said, let me try somewhere else. Then it boosted to it was like $2,800. I'm like, you know what? Let me just go ahead and get this $2,100 one. You know what I'm saying? The rooms, we didn't have to get the rooms. The rooms are like $1,000 a night. It's ridiculous. I have a cousin that lives. He has a house out there that it's an Airbnb, and that's what he used to live there. He's moved out to he lives in DC now, but he keeps it as an Airbnb. That's right there in Scottsdale. And he said it's usually $280 a night to stay in his Airbnb. He has a realtor that's charging I think it's like $3,200 a night.
Oh my God.
Stay there, and he'll get it
because it's got a pool and everything in it.
And he'll get it. He'll get it too.
Yeah, a pool and 4 rooms, and he's charging that much for it, man. For 4-room house in Scottsdale with a pool, and he has a big screen TV out the pool and everything. He said, well, with this setup, you'll get this. So he's like, nah, I won't get this. Lo and behold, he called me and said, hey, bro, he has a book right now.
Yep.
He's getting $18,000 for 4 days.
Yep. Gotta believe it.
Super Bowl tickets. I'm buying 2 Super Bowl tickets. The nosebleeds.
Oh my God.
Well, think about $800.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Here's the thing though. I got to, in covering Super Bowls, you talk to people who make a substantial amount of money. Now, I don't know how they do this, but they get tickets and they stand outside the stadium and try to sell them. Now, they may start at like $2,000-$3,000 a ticket. The closer it gets to kickoff, the more that price goes down because they want to make a sale. So if anybody thinks they want to go out to Arizona and not have to pay these astronomical, and I sent you guys that story on somebody who's already bought some tickets we'll talk about in a while. But people who initially try to get $2,000-$3,000 a ticket, a lot of times they end up getting $200-$400 a ticket just so they can make something off the face value of the ticket. Mm-hmm. If you look at the face value of the ticket compared to what people ask for these tickets and the amount of money, dude, there's so much money to be made if you're diligent enough. Like Bear said, the Airbnbs, the hotels, the airfares. Think about the food and stuff like that. Prices are going to go up for food a little bit. cab fare, Uber fares, all that's going to go up for this one particular week. Is going to generate a lot of income that a lot of people have never seen come through their city. And you know what? The volume of people that go through there, they don't bat an eye. They'll pay for it. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard about people refinancing their homes to buy tickets to go to a Super Bowl. Oh,
Are you kidding me?
No.
You're talking about Philadelphia fans.
Philadelphia fans have done it, but I've heard
Right.
talk to people else. Philadelphia fans refinance their homes to get money, or take equity out of their homes to get money because they feel this is a once in a lifetime. I gotta blow it out. You know, I'm never gonna do that, but I would never do that. You know, if I was just
got
just
plenty
a
of
fan.
money.
No, because I'm not paying $2,000-$3,000 for anything to watch a sporting event. Number one, I'm not paying triple the cost for hotel. I'm not paying double the cost for food. I'm not paying 5 times the cost for airfare, especially if I got to take a family of 3 or 4 with me. I'm not doing it.
Put it like this: the year I won the Super Bowl, we were given 2 tickets that we didn't have to pay for. The face value of those tickets were $3,800.
Damn.
But then we could buy up to 12 tickets. I bought all 12
Okay.
for $3,600.
That's a lot.
So I bought all those tickets. So we're talking about $38, almost $4,000 worth of tickets.
For just
in tickets. Yeah.
So then I took those tickets and put it like this, I left Detroit with right around $60,000 from selling the tickets. I kept 4 and sold the rest.
But just think about what you said. You bought 12 tickets for what? $3,800?
$3,800.
Now a cheap ticket for a Super Bowl is $3,800.
No, the cheap ticket for a Super Bowl this year, the nosebleed ticket. Like when I buy my tickets, the Eagles will probably give me the nosebleed tickets. I know that. We know that. I mean, I'm not, part of the organization anymore, but they hooked me up because, I'm a former player and I cover them. So they'll give me 2 tickets. I have to pay $4,800 for the tickets.
Wow.
$4,800. But
that's a piece, right?
Yeah, a piece. So I mean, if I was going to sell them, I could probably sell them for $10,000.
Yeah, you can make a nice profit. You could.
No, thank you. I love my sports, but I have a limit. I ain't paying that. I'm not paying
Derek, you sent this to us. We might as well just do it since we're on this right now. So, 3rd row for the game. There were 3 tickets sold for $75,513.
What?
Yeah.
$75,513 for the 3rd row, like 40-yard line on TickPick, which is a legitimate agency.
$75,000
for 3 tickets. That ain't even talking about hotel accommodations,
Nothing
rental
else.
cars, food.
You got
just
pissed off looking at it,
game.
didn't you?
Hey, that's Bill Gates money right there. That's the kind of money. That's Bill Gates. I'm gonna tell you something. If I was Bill Gates and if I had Bill Gates money, I still wouldn't do it.
Yeah,
I would not do
funny.
it because number one, I hate having to go anywhere 2 to 3 hours before just to get in. First of all, to find a parking spot.
Right.
I hate being stuck in my car for an hour or so trying to get out of a place.
Absolutely.
If it's a close game, you pay that kind of money, you want to say, I was there to the end. I saw that defining moment, that defining play of the game. You think about a lot of people start leaving when it's 4 or 5 minutes left in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it's a great Super Bowl, like we've seen some great Super Bowls, you're listening to it on the car and the radio. I didn't pay for that. That's not what I paid for.
Right.
But see, I'm not doing it. I'm not patient. I'm patient in a lot of ways, but not when it comes to getting in and out of venues. And that's why, having the luxury of covering events for as long as I have, it just became the norm. Get there 3-4 hours before a game. Because of your post-game commitments, you're going to be there 2-3 hours after a game. And by the time you get out, everybody's gone. Most times by the time you go in, that first wave of tailgaters are in, you get that window where you can slip in real quick. You don't have to worry about being stuck in traffic. Outside of that, I don't care who's playing. I'm not doing it. I can't do it. I don't have the patience to do it.
All right, let's get a quickie in here. We'll come back. We'll continue with the Eagles discussion. We'll dive a little bit into the 2017 versus 2022 Eagles teams. We will do that when we come back, and we'll mix in a little Sixers who little letdown after the Nuggets game last night against the Magic. So we'll hit all those when we come back. That's Barrett. That's Derek. I'm Rob. We're Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Let's talk about Flynn Tree Services. Yes, Flynn Tree Services is an experienced, licensed, and insured Pennsylvania tree services company that will trim or remove any unwanted tree off of your property. They offer cost-effective solutions to any tree problem that you may face. They're experts at trimming all types of trees, and they serve southeastern PA, South Jersey, and northern Delaware. Flynn Tree Services specializes in tree removal, stump grinding, and tree pruning. Keep in mind, you get storm season, hurricane season, some crazy weather, upon us right now. It's a great time to have your trees evaluated. You can go to their Facebook or Instagram page for more information or a sampling of their work. Give Flynn Tree Services a call at 610-850-2848, 610-850-2848, or online at flynntreeservices.com. That's flynntreeservices.com.